LaHood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you for having this very important hearing today. Let me thank our three witnesses for your perspectives and expertise here today on this important topic. And when I think about the CCP and their Made in China 2025 initiative, they will use any tool at their disposal to beat the U.S. from a technological standpoint, from an economic standpoint, from a military standpoint, from a diplomatic standpoint, and I think we've seen that. And this Made in China 2025 initiative was designed for China to become the leading independent scientific and technological power in order to coerce governments at will. And we're seeing that in effect around the globe. Intellectual property theft, illegal state subsidies, and state-owned enterprises are all tactics that are deployed by the CCP to undermine global economic competition. The only thing standing in their way is our success in reducing their sources of leverage, which is part of our core mission on this bipartisan committee. And China continues to use overcapacity and subsidies to hollow out the U.S. industry and the automotive industry. And it's, as we've seen and heard today, same thing happened in shipbuilding, drones, and the steel industry. And the CCP refuses to abide by the same rules and standards that every other industrialized country in the world abides by. And nothing at this point should be taken on faith or trust alone when it pertains to the CCP. And purchases of new Chinese cars with today's amount of advanced technology is no different. And so my question is to Ms. Dzinski. So in addition to serving on this committee, I also serve on the House Ways and Means Committee, which has jurisdiction over trade matters. And we're in the process now of renewal of the USMCA with obviously our partners in North America, Canada, and Mexico. And so from a strategic competition standpoint, thinking about China, from your viewpoint, what should our Ways and Means Committee be aware of in terms of our discussions with our neighbor countries?
Thank you for that important question. I think there's a lot on the table. And initially, when there was discussion about opening up the USMCA to go beyond a review to more of a renegotiation, I was concerned that would be problematic for a trade deal that has worked reasonably well. Now I feel a little bit differently. I think there's way too much on the national security agenda to leave that deal as is. We really need to be thinking about building something like Fortress North America when it comes to our automotive sector and other critical industries. We are deeply tied into Canada and Mexico with co-production. I believe that creates jobs in the U.S. and it creates jobs elsewhere. That's not a bad thing. We can do more to reshore, but we can also do more to co-produce in a competitive way. We have that infrastructure available, and the North American Free Trade alignment is probably the strongest in the world. So I think we need to figure out how to protect it, but it has to be responsive to today's threats. What does that mean? On a practical level, it means common trade enforcement mechanisms. It means more information sharing. It means common import structures. And I know not all of this can be done at once, but we have to get the playbook together of what will bring alignment across North America. I think if we don't do that, then we're really at risk of having a fracture where we should have something that is stronger when it comes to protecting our common national security framework.
That's really helpful. We may need you to testify at Ways and Means on that exact point. So
I would be honored.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ludwig, Chinese investment in research is rising 6 times faster than the U.S. and is expected to take over the U.S. in spending within a decade. From a public policy standpoint, what should we be looking at to reverse that, or in terms of developing and fostering innovation and to bolster America's leadership as it relates to the international competition against the CCP?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. So I would just underline that the perception that China is beginning to lead in R&D is absolutely real. My company, which is really an engineering company, we attend most of the top conferences in in AI, including conferences like CVPR, which is one of the leading AI conferences. And 2025 was a bit of a tipping point where now a majority of the top papers in the conference are coming out of Chinese institutions. And I think in order to reverse that, that will require really a tremendous investment on behalf of the American government in U.S. universities. We just have to recognize that China at this point does have a lot of good universities and is graduating a lot of engineering talent. And so we have to be very strategic in the investments that we're making to ensure that the most important industries and AI technologies have the appropriate funding and support.
Thank you for that. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.